Die Spinne, the spider, part fact, part myth. The Spider sounds like the creation of some 70s pulp thriller writer, but it was a serious organization run by deadly serious individuals who were determined to remain free after the defeat of Nazi Germany. The man most widely noted as Die Spinne's founder and chief of operations was Hitler's Kommando Extraordinaire, SS Obersturmbannführer or Lieutenant Colonel Otto Skorzeny, the 6'4" tall, scar-faced Austrian SS officer who had risen to fame, pulling off seemingly impossible missions for a very grateful Führer, principally Operation Oak, the dramatic rescue of deposed Italian dictator Benito Mussolini from an Alpine hotel atop the Gran Sasso in 1943, which had earned Skorzeny a Knight's Cross, to Operation Panzerfaust, the kidnapping in Budapest of Admiral Miklos Horthy's son, forcing Horthy to resign as regent of Hungary and allow the Nazi-aligned Arrow Cross Party to form a government, keeping Hungary on the German side. Also, Operation Greif, or Griffin, a clever attempt by Skorzeny to infiltrate behind US lines during the Ardennes offensive, a special unit of English-speaking German commandos, Einheit Stielau, dressed in US uniforms and driving captured jeeps, to spread false information and carry out sabotage behind enemy lines. But post-war, Skorzeny was to be just as active as in World War II, via his SS escape organization Die Spinne, an idea that had first come to the fore as it became clear that Germany was going to lose the war, a realization that Skorzeny and others had come to in the latter part of 1944. However, Skorzeny had continued as a loyal soldier of Hitler up to the end, latterly in February 1945, when, as an acting brigade commander, he commanded about 5,000 SS and paratroopers in trying to hold the Schwedt bridgehead on the River Oder. He was then moved over to the Western Front with orders on the 17th of March 1945 to destroy the Ludendorff Bridge at Remagen, recently captured by US forces, providing them with a bridgehead across the Rhine River. Before he could begin this operation, the already damaged bridge collapsed of its own volition. However, a naval frogman demolition unit under Skorzeny's command did attack a US pontoon bridge between Kripp and Linz, though without success. These operations led Hitler to award Skorzeny with the oak leaves to his Knight's Cross. Captured by the Americans at war's end, in 1947 he was put on trial as a war criminal at Dachau due to his having violated the laws of war by sending his men behind US lines in American uniform during the Battle of the Bulge. After 3 weeks, however, the case against Skorzeny collapsed, as it was revealed that Allied forces had contemplated doing exactly the same kinds of false flag operations using German uniforms. Skorzeny then escaped in 1948 from an internment camp at Darmstadt, when he was awaiting the decision of a denazification court. Skorzeny maintained that his escape was aided by the Americans. Hiding out in a farmhouse in Bavaria for some 18 months, Skorzeny maintained contact with the shadowy former head of Hitler's anti-Soviet military intelligence service, Reinhard Gehlen. Gehlen was so useful to the Western Allies that he had been permitted to continue his intelligence activities, only now supplying his intelligence not to Hitler but to the United States in Western Germany. The Gehlen organization would become the basis for the West German Federal Intelligence Bureau, the BND, that still exists today, and Gehlen its first head, recruiting many former SS and SD counterintelligence officers. What few people realize was that Skorzeny was immensely wealthy as a result of a late-war SS operation, a smash-and-grab bank heist in wartime Berlin. As I outlined 3 years ago in a video called SS Bank Heist, SS Standartenführer Josef Spasil of the RSHA, the Reich Main Security Office, led a body of heavily armed SS troops in a raid on the temporary Reichsbank building on the 22nd of April 1945, Berlin now under direct attack by the Red Army. Spasil, acting on the order of his superior, SS Obergruppenführer Dr. Ernst Kaltenbrunner, the head of the RSHA, who was now in hiding in southern Germany, ordered employees to load a small convoy of SS trucks with the remaining valuables in the vaults. These included jewelry, diamonds, securities including bearer bonds, and all the remaining bags of foreign currency. They left the remaining gold bullion as they were exiting Berlin by plane, and it was too heavy to take. Today's prices, Spasil's robbery netted the SS over $131 million in portable and easily transferable wealth. Spasil and his men, along with their families, next drove to one of Berlin's airports where a Junkers Ju-52 transport was awaiting them. Loading the people, the sacks of cash and boxes of bonds and jewelry aboard, the plane lifted off safely and flew to Prague to refuel and thence to Salzburg in Austria. An SS truck met the plane, and Spasil and a handful of his staff loaded the cash and other items aboard and then drove to Bergries in Austria. On the 4th of May, following a meeting with the local Gauleiter, Dr. Gustav Adolf Scheel, Spasil realized that US forces were soon to capture the region. A portion of the loot was buried in 2 caches near the village of Rauris. Spasil and his staff divided up the rest. On the 7th of May 1945, Spasil met with SS Obergruppenführer Erich Naumann and drove together to Radstadt to meet Otto Skorzeny. Spasil gave Skorzeny's adjutant, SS Hauptsturmführer Karl Radl in 1945 values, 50,000 gold francs, 10,000 Swedish crowns, 5,000 US dollars, 5,000 Swiss francs, and 5 million Reichsmarks, in total today worth many millions of dollars. Skorzeny, like most of the SS officers who were recipients of portions of loot, managed to hide his share. Most of the caches were later recovered by US investigators. However, in today's value, $123 million of currency, bonds, jewelry, etc. stolen by Spasil from the Reichsbank was never recovered. And it seems clear that Skorzeny had his hands on a large portion of it. Skorzeny's cut at today's prices would be in tens of millions of dollars. He kept the secret of what happened to it throughout 3 years of interrogation and imprisonment until his escape, and evidently recovered much of it during the late 1940s. Following his escape, Skorzeny next resurfaced in Paris and was photographed sitting outside a cafe on the Champs-Élysées in February 1950. The photograph was published in the press the next day, and Skorzeny departed hastily for Salzburg, where he met with old SS comrades, and also filed for divorce from his wife so that he could marry his girlfriend, Countess Ilse Lütjer, niece of Hitler's former finance minister Hjalmar Schacht. He then appeared in fascist Spain later in 1950, suddenly immensely wealthy, living a high society lifestyle with his aristocratic wife. As well as being an international arms dealer, he was also involved in railway stock deals amounting to over $53 million in 2024 prices. Skorzeny channeled millions into Die Spinne, the Spider, an organization set up to help SS men, many of them wanted war criminals, to escape Europe and begin new lives abroad, mostly in South America. Die Spinne would become headquartered in Madrid, described by US intelligence as a kind of political mafia serving various purposes. A series of influential former Nazis were associated with Die Spinne, including notably Dr. Hans Globke, who had been part of the team that had drawn up the Nuremberg race laws in the 1930s. He was post-war director of the West German Chancellery in Bonn from 1953 to 63, serving as an advisor to Chancellor Konrad Adenauer. With Skorzeny based mostly in Madrid, running the coordinating office for Die Spinne, The Central European headquarters for the organization was opened in Gmunden, Austria, as early as 1948. So between 1948 and 50, Die Spinner facilitated the escape of hundreds of Nazis from prison camps and internment camps to the town of Memmingen in Bavaria, thence down the Rat Line via Austria, Switzerland, and on to Italy. In 1951, Skorzeny received powerful assistance to keep Die Spinner running when industrialist Alfred Krupp employed Skorzeny as his personal representative in industrial ventures in Argentina, Skorzeny already having befriended the Argentinian leader Juan Perón. Skorzeny was also working for Reinhard Gehlen and in 1952 went to Egypt to act as military advisor to the leader General Mohammed Neguib on Gehlen's recommendation. Skorzeny recruited a training staff consisting of former SS and Wehrmacht officers, including Generals Wilhelm Farnbacher and Oskar Munzel. Also, the former head of the Gestapo's Department of Jewish Affairs in Poland, SS Standartenführer Leopold Gleim, was appointed, plus the former Gestapo director of Düsseldorf. Skorzeny also trained Arab irregulars and Palestinian refugees. These men, including a young Yasser Arafat, later leader of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, preparing them for possible commando raids into Israel. Skorzeny then became an advisor to the new Egyptian leader, Colonel Gamal Abdel Nasser, but also transitioned often to Spain and Argentina, working on business deals and also the transfer of wanted Nazis. It has emerged that, incredibly, Skorzeny may have been working for the Israeli intelligence unit, Mossad, from 1963 onwards, helping then prevent Egypt from using Nazi scientists to develop long-range missiles that could hit Israel. Certainly, Mossad did assassinate German rocket scientist Heinz Krug, who was working for Egypt. But definite proof that Skorzeny worked for the Israelis is difficult to come by, and is debated today. Skorzeny set up the Paladin Group in 1963, a sort of mercenary arms company based in Alicante, Spain, and was also involved in neo-Nazi circles in Spain in the 1960s, and also had a house in Mallorca. He also maintained a residence in the Republic of Ireland. Die Spinner was very successful. It has been estimated that Skorzeny's secret organization helped as many as 600 former SS men to escape to Spain, Argentina, and many other countries. The extent of Die Spinner's network and operations is not fully known even today, and it probably outlived Skorzeny's own death from cancer in August 1975 at the age of 67. His body was transferred to Vienna, and his funeral was well attended by many former SS men, who saluted his coffin. We can be sure that much of Die Spinner's success was due in no small part to the tens of millions of dollars of loot that Skorzeny had in his possession at war's end. Proceeds of the SS robbery of the Reichsbank in Berlin in April 1945, most of which was never recovered, either before or after Skorzeny's death. Many thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.